G'day mates, I'm so excited to have you here in this video today. We're going to talk about the dark side of entrepreneurship. Are you ready to come to the dark side? So what we're really going to be talking about today is failure and how to deal with that as an entrepreneur or a business owner. And the fact is, we all fail. It's normal to fail. It's important and necessary for our success in life and business. All right. And I've learned a lot of things from my failures just over the last 10 months. I've really started my entrepreneurial journey, but really probably the last 3 or 4 years, a lot of things that I've gone through that has contributed to me learning a lot of important lessons. Now, some of my failures include not taking action sooner, not starting a business back when I started learning about online business, delaying the opportunity to start a business. I've had many opportunities to do so even when I was younger and I just didn't. Trying to do everything all at once, trying to build every single business possible and not really getting any traction with any of them. Not investing in help and resources to help me be successful and learn strategies from those successful people. Not posting content consistently, designing things that I end up not using. So there's been a lot of things that I've learned along the way that I've kind of tripped over my own feet. But the most important thing about this is that these failures have led me to where I am today. And remember this, guys, failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. So when we fail and whether it's a big thing that we fail at or even it's a little thing and it bothers us, just know that failure is part of this process in developing and growing as an entrepreneur and as a business owner and as a person. And failure gives us the opportunity to learn a lot of important things. And if we can learn from our failures and what we did wrong and maybe how we can improve that or avoid that in the future, that's going to give us the keys to success, because experience gives us so much knowledge that if we watched a video or saw someone else go through the same thing or read about something, it's not going to have the same impact as the experience would have on us, all right? Now, we all know Thomas Edison. He created the light bulb. He failed thousands and thousands of times in order to successfully create the light bulb, right? And oftentimes, the most successful people have failed the most. So be okay with failing and know that it's part of the process, okay? But how do we overcome this failure? What do we do to take the next step and not get discouraged and down ourselves and, have it affect taking action and being positive and moving forward, right? This is some of the biggest struggles that I've dealt with and that I want to help you overcome in your life. So how do we do that, right? So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over these 4 steps to overcoming failure to help you move forward and move past some of the things that you've struggled with, right? Now, the first thing that we can do in order to overcome this is accepting that failure is part of the process for success. So I've touched on this a little bit, but it is really the stepping stone in our journey that will take us where we want to be. So if we ultimately want to create this, successful life, have freedom, become this, fit, healthy, happy, positive, influential person in the world, we have to accept that failure is part of the journey. We're going to trip up along the way, and that's okay. You think back to when we were kids, right? We were little toddlers and we were learning to walk. How many times did we fall over and just get back up without even thinking, right? We've got to be those kind of people. We fall over, we get back up, and we try again. And the reason why we learn how to walk is because we don't give up, right? So part of this process is just accepting that failure is part of the journey. And that piece of knowledge is really, really helpful for us to then get back up, have the motivation, and know that that's an essential part of this, this whole process, all right? Next thing, step number 2, take some time for yourself. And just recently, I actually had a YouTube video that was removed from my channel and I received a strike. And I opened up YouTube to just kind of check that everything was, running okay with the video. And come to find out that my whole account, there's a big red alert that came up saying, I had violated the community guidelines. And I was like, what? How did I do this? What happened? What was it that affected this or made this video do this? And so I was running through all these ideas in my mind, like what contributed to that video not following guidelines? And so I was kind of freaking out, and I was really kind of disappointed, upset, because I had spent probably a total time of about 4 or 5 hours putting that video together, making it really, really good. And it was my one about, improving your credit, understanding what credit is and getting a good credit score. And I was so upset by it. So, I did a bunch of research. I tried to find out like how people dealt with that. And I came across, an article that just said, just appeal it. It's all you can really do. So I appealed it. Wanted to find out exactly, specifically why, that video got flagged. And the next day I woke up and my video was back up. My YouTube strike was removed and I was happy. Now I know this isn't a huge failure, I guess, but we've got to pick ourselves up and keep moving forward. Now, because of that experience, I learned a little bit more about the community guidelines. I learned a little bit about how to deal with a situation like that. And so now going forward, I know how to deal with that if that did happen again. So, these little, trip overs along the way help teach us so much, all right? So that was kind of an experience that I had recently. It really freaked me out. Okay, the third step is evaluate what happened and what you can learn from it. So this is the most important step, and I've kind of touched on a few things here, but when you take the time for yourself, and let me just go back to the step number 2 and elaborate a little more. Taking some time for yourself may include, going to the gym, taking time away from your computer or your business to do something else, taking your mind off it, because when it initially happens, you have a lot of emotions that are, inside. You don't know what to do. It's very devastating. Some mistakes can be quite large. You may have lost a client. You may, your store may be shut down. Your product may not be selling. Whatever that is, you got to take time away, kind of, do something to take your mind off it, and then you bring your mind back to it and kind of refocus and evaluate what happened. All right. So sit down, look at, this happened, this happened, this happened. Why did this happen? What can I do to avoid it? How can I prevent this happening in the future? Ask yourself those questions and take those notes, whether you even write them down. But just taking an inventory of those things can really help you to, 1, avoid that in the future, and 2, know how to handle it when it arises again, so you're not devastated, you don't freak out like you did this time. All right. And so those are important building blocks for building, your successful empire. So just remember that. Always evaluate what happened and what you can learn from it, okay? I'm just going to move myself over the camera here so I can read this next one. Fail forward, all right? So when we fail forward. And every bit of information we absorb is coming together so we can create a different outcome. So failing forward is important, because when we fail forward, we are taking what we learn from it, we're absorbing all the information, and we're looking at the situation in a positive way rather than a negative way. Because this is where I think a lot of people get held up, and I've gotten held up with this, previously, is when something bad happens, it's really hard to know how to react. And if we react in a negative way, it can even take us further downhill. And if that takes us further downhill, it's going to give us less motivation and drive to work, to perform different tasks, to stay on top of things. But if we handle it in a positive way, it's going to help us to actually move forward. So in this situation, if we can do whatever we can to think positively of the situation and take it as a learning experience and not as a negative one, as though, I'm a bad person, I'm not good at this, I suck at this. If you're thinking those thoughts, then stop. Stop yourself, recognize those thoughts, and change it. It's not you that sucks, it's not you that bad, but you just made a bad decision at the time. But then you tell yourself, I'm going to learn from this and not do that again in the future. You can't make yourself the object. of why something went bad, all right? It's definitely a mindset thing as well. So if you can do all you can to think positive of the situation, take everything you can from it and realize that that experience, you've learned something so valuable that other people haven't been able to learn, okay? So just remember that. So that's kind of my 4 steps to overcoming failure. I'm not perfect in any way. I'm still working to overcome these, but these are kind of things that have really helped me to work through some of these things, okay? I just want to end off with this, guys. You are strong enough to face it all, even if it doesn't feel like it now, okay? You are strong enough to face it all, even if it doesn't feel like it now, all right? You have the potential to do anything that you want in your life. The only thing that's stopping you from getting what you want is yourself. And the way we can work past those problems or that issue is by trying to improve ourselves every single day. Guys, it's okay to fail. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's important to always continue progressing, all right? And the only point at which you fail is when you actually give up and you stop trying, all right? So as long as you're trying, you're learning from your mistakes, and you're implementing the things that you learn, you will be a success. I promise you that. You will be, all right? So I hope that this video was really valuable to you. I wanted to really share this with you because I know a lot of people don't really talk about their failures and what they're going through, but I hope that this video was helpful for you today. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're new to this channel. If you want to learn more about entrepreneurship and other online business to help you create the life that you want and the success that you want. But until next time, guys, I will see you in the next video.